So Slavica Jokanovic has been sacked by Fulham. A bit of a shock, 9:30 this morning, Sammy. Sammy from Fulhamish podcast and YouTube channel.
Hey.
Anything else, blog?
Everything.
Everything, great. Obviously been replaced by Claudio Ranieri this morning, 9:30. And shocking news in some respects because I kind of thought Jokanovic deserved a little bit more time given what he'd done last season, but it's the Premier League. You know, things have to happen quickly in order to stop any kind of risk of relegation, and obviously you're very much in the mire at the moment. What was your immediate reaction when Ranieri came out?
Just shock, isn't it? It's when your club gets rid of its manager, there's just that moment where all of you and your mates, especially in the kind of days of WhatsApp groups, where one person breaks it quickly and then everyone else just loses their mind and is desperately trying to find out if things are true, and went on the official website, and because it wasn't just Slavica sacked, then we wait 2 weeks, then we find out who the manager was. It was Slavica's gone and here's the new man.
Yeah.
It was all like, whoa, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then we kind of read up on stuff and realised what exactly had happened. It isn't a shock because you lose 6 games in the Premier League and the risk of getting fired is always there. If Spurs lost 6 games in the Premier League, you know, Pochettino's a legend, but
I don't think there's a manager that survives it. Actually,
not really.
Not in the modern game.
Unless you were on a terrific run. Let's say maybe like Wolves lost 6 games and, you know, they've been on such a great run and it was just a blip. But this was more than a blip. We've got 5 points.
Yeah, and 6 games on the bounce does suggest there's something intrinsically wrong at the football club. You know, it's if you've got any aspirations in the Premier League, losing 6 in the bounce is completely unacceptable. But just before we go on to the failings of Jokanovic and what led to his sacking, what about Ranieri? How do you feel about him? Is it the right appointment?
I feel like the quirkiness of Ranieri does fit the quirkiness of Fulham in a way. The first thing I tweeted off my own account this morning was, oh my God, thank you, it's not Big Sam.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't want a Big Sam, an Alan Pardew, a David Moyes. Might have kept us up, but I just don't really like that style of football. I go to Fulham to be entertained. The Visa played entertaining football. I know Ranieri doesn't always play beautiful football.
Certainly at Leicester, he played it was defensive, but it was counter-attacking and exciting. And every time you got the ball, low percentage plays, Leicester did excite at times.
Yeah.
The pace of Vardy and Mahrez, obviously, in that season, Drinkwater and Albright in midfield as well. You've got the squad there.
Yeah, 100%.
Surely you must have the squad to be able to play in Ranieri's system.
Well, certainly counter-attacking is a way that a lot of us on the podcast have been speaking about, because we do have the pace of Sessegnon.
Yeah.
Sessegnon loves playing counter-attacking. You saw it at Liverpool on Sunday, actually, when Fulham were kind of trying to play on the counter, and Sessegnon was vital to that. You've got a player like Luciano Vietto, who's super quick. Schürrle, his top speed is very good as well. And then you've got the perfect target man in Mitro, who can hold up the ball and bring those fast players into play. He's not a similar player to Vardy. Vardy very much kind of ran in behind defences. Mitro is much more of a target man, but you've got those players around it that can get in behind defences. I think Ranieri will get a lot of joy if he does go down that counter-attacking style, but from what I know of Ranieri, he's managed 18 different clubs.
Yeah.
He's got 5 teams to the knockout stages of the Champions League. Aside from the Leicester stuff, this is a manager that's got plenty of pedigree. There's a bit of a stigma that comes weirdly with Ranieri, and I think
it's from the Chelsea time, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas he kind of didn't. It's seen that his time at Chelsea was perhaps he didn't make the best of an amazing situation.
Well, he was blessed with Roman Abramovich coming in, spending loads of money, and just didn't achieve all that much. And then Mourinho came in and bossed it for 3 seasons consecutively, and you just thought maybe Ranieri underachieved really with the amount of resources he had. But look, he proved himself at Leicester. What an incredible manager he is, and that is one of the greatest shocks in Premier League history. And his next Premier League job is Fulham. If he can make Leicester win the league, there's no reason why Fulham can't overcome a 3-point gap at the bottom of the table.
A very good point. He made the basis of his success at Leicester was these Hoof and Morgan, 2 ginormous centre backs, which Fulham don't really appear to have. Not 2 units like that.
No, you could say Alfie Mawson is quite a
he's a technically gifted centre back.
Yeah.
It's not like Hoof and Morgan, where they've got one objective, and that's to clear. And I'm not saying this is the only Ranieri's only tactic, but I think it'd be foolish not to try and adopt a similar sort of tactic that was so successful for Leicester in the Premier League.
100%. And what Fulham have lacked this season is a little bit of bite sometimes and a little bit of aggression. We sometimes let teams dance through us. Sometimes we're not quick enough to give away that tactical foul in the middle of the park and get a yellow card but stop the other team from breaking and scoring goals. We've conceded 31. 31 in 12 games. It's nearly 3 goals a game.
What went wrong then with Jokanovic? Did he show the due respect you need to the Premier League, playing against some of the best sides in European football, to just try and play a similar sort of football? Or should he have been a bit more, or could he have been a bit more pragmatic?
He had to be, and it was wonderful to see. But we went to Man City and tried to play football. Okay, yeah, we were very good last season in the Championship, but to go to Man City and try and play the ball on the deck and play them their own game really just showed a slight naivety.
Yeah, that's true. But you also hear pundits all the time saying, "You got to go for it. You got to go for it." You know, Redknapp.
Maybe at home, but away at the Etihad.
And I mean, I agree with you. I don't think it's the sensible thing to do. You know, if you can salvage a point from a game like that, any away game really in the Premier League for a promoted side is. A point is a decent result.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and then we didn't have that mentality enough. It was either we've got to win it or we'll lose.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to go, all right, we're going to go to this tough away ground. We're going to have to sit back, play on the counter, take our chances when they come. And Slav went there and tried to play football out the back with defenders that weren't technically gifted enough to do it. Tim Ream, Dennis Adoy, wonderful centre-backs in the Championship. They had such great chemistry. But Tim Ream trying to play it out the back away at Everton or Arsenal and all of these teams, it was just a bit naive that they were going to have the quality.
Every time I've seen Adoy, I saw him in the Championship and I thought he was good, but he's tiny.
Yeah, he does leap like a salmon.
No, for sure. He's got a leap on him, but it does.
Yeah,
it does look. Do look at him. You think you can get at him. You must be able to. What out of all the signings you brought in? There were many. So I've got 2 questions. One was the issue that too much was brought in and the chemistry suffered, and of the ones that brought in, who do you think will make it past this Ranieri test? Who's been good enough?
Well, one of them is Mitrovic, because there just is no one else really up front that Fulham can play. And if he gets injured or suspended, I think he's on 4 yellow cards, so he's going to probably get suspended sometime soon. There isn't really another option other than Mitrovic, which is poor recruitment really when we sign 12 players and we don't have a player that is really a suitable striker backup. But anyway, you imagine that John Mikel Seri is going to flourish under someone like Ranieri. He's been struggling.
Kind of Kante role, perhaps.
Potentially. I think we've got plenty of players that will start under Ranieri. Plenty of the new players have been given a new chance. And there's also some fringe players for Fulham that haven't really featured that much that now have another opportunity to impress a new manager. The likes of someone like Flor Deite, Niskin Silvano, who's barely got on the pitch this season, who are key players for us in the Championship but have been overlooked by Slav, have a new opportunity. And when they come back from international duty, I mean, they're going to be fired up, aren't they? They're going to be keen to impress because here's a new manager.
They shouldn't be there. Really.
Well, exactly.
That's what you need when you to fight relegation. You know, you look Cardiff. I still think Cardiff will go down, but they're showing such fight and desire with what still is very much a Championship squad.
Exactly.
So what's the difference? How have Cardiff managed to go about it correctly, and perhaps Fulham haven't? Is it the experience of Warnock, whereas?
I think a little bit. I mean, Warnock's gone into this season with quite a clever outlook, if you ask me, with just a basically an attitude of we're here to have a good time and no one expects anything of us. But there was always going to be a bit more pressure on Fulham because we spent so much money and the owners have much higher ambitions, really, than Cardiff, whose main objective was to survive. Fulham's ambition at the beginning of this season was something like top 10, you know, to be a real challenger in the Premier League. It's not a slight on Cardiff, but right now, you know, we're looking like a much worse team all across the pitch, and Ranieri's a motivator, and you imagine that game against Southampton, he's going to have the team fired up and they're really going to want to put on a show for him.
Yeah, and he has the experience, he understands the league, he's managed 2 clubs here, he's managed all around the world, he's managed internationally, and I think it's an excellent appointment. I really do. But what about the owners? Khan, a lot's been said about him. Obviously, trying to buy Wembley Stadium, that hasn't happened. He pumped a lot of money into Fulham. There's been some questions about how much he understands football, but I think this appointment shows that he does. And I think the sacking was the correct amount of time. I don't blame him for being ambitious in the transfer market. So, What's your opinion? What are Fulham fans' opinion of your own at the moment?
I think generally the vibe is still fairly positive from Shahid. There's still a few ways that the club is run that some fans don't fully get on board, the way that we always use stats for recruitment and that the manager actually doesn't have the ultimate say on signings. A lot of it is kind of a director of football system at Fulham, and some fans don't like that. For me, I just think that's how modern football works these days.
I think that strikes me as a kind of draconian way to look at it. I think every top club has some sort of structure where there is a recruitment team and it isn't just a manager. Bizarrely, it's Spurs actually, which is quite a modern football club if you think about the way it's set up. Pochettino is directly responsible now for signing players, and it was a kind of failing system that we had previously, which was about statistics and was about looking at different players around the world, having access to this computer database and software program where you could pull up footage from any player in the world. And it's gone back to saying, well, who do I like for my system? And that's the kind of way we are. But
he's still positively seen no Khan. And 3 years ago, almost to the day, Fulham sacked Kit Simons when we were 20th, 21st in the Championship, really, really struggling. But Fulham sacked Kit and had no successor lined up. We went through this farce of getting a committee together to try and appoint the next manager, and it took 2 months to appoint Slavica Jokanovic. Within that time, Fulham didn't win a single game, and we entered the Championship relegation zone. So I think he was quite keen to learn from that mistake and think, okay, we're gonna get rid of Slavica. We've got to get rid of Slavica. Who are we going to get in? We have to have someone ready to go, and that was clear. That's what's happened. And now Ranieri's got 10 days until that massive Southampton game, and it just shows that Shahid has learnt from his mistakes of the past, and that's all you can ask. He's new to management,
planning for sure,
but all you can ask is that we learn from our mistakes of the past. I imagine we'll have learned a lot of mistakes from the recruitment this summer, and fingers crossed, if Claudio keeps us up, then this summer, when we look at recruitment, we can maybe be a little bit more sensible and level-headed about how we go about things, rather than this gung-ho, let's sign everyone attitude that we had this summer and is clearly not worked because a lot of the players haven't gelled.
I mean, like I think Ranieri would have learned from that as well. His time at Chelsea, where things didn't work out for him, but his time at Leicester, where the recruitment was sensible and it was pragmatic, and you saw that the group unity and chemistry was what saw them through to winning that Premier League trophy. All right, just finally then, where will Fulham finish at the end of the season now? What can you see?
I was confident that Fulham were going to stay up even with Slav in charge. I think that there's a really important run of 5 home games coming up for Fulham. So you've got Southampton, Leicester, West Ham, Wolves and Huddersfield, all before the turn of the year, all at Craven Cottage. Now let's say you can get 12 points out of 15 from those. That's Fulham on 17 points without us getting a single point away from home. If we're on best part of 20 points going into the new year playing half the matches, that would be quite good. So that's why I think it was so crucial that if Fulham were to make the change, it had to be now. And I think that Fulham can get a lot of points out of that run of fixtures. So it's not going to be a dramatic rise up the table. We're not going to suddenly finish top half or anything like that. And there's still going to be some tough afternoons for us, especially when we face the top 6, who this season it's ridiculous, the gap in the Premier League, isn't it, between the haves and have-nots. But are we better than Southampton, Newcastle, Huddersfield, Cardiff, or can we be better than them? Sure we can. We've got a lot of talented players. So I'm going to say something like 16th, 15th. It would be nice for us to just have our head above water going into those final games. What I'd love to avoid is some horrible final day relegation decider.
Just for the record, Fulham are one of the haves, aren't they?
Sorry?
Not the have-nots.
Well, in terms of money?
Yeah.
A little bit, but I guess
I think
when you look at the Premier League this season, it's so disjointed. It's a little bit mad, and I think it's going to be a record low amount of points needed to stay up this season. It could even be something like 30, 31 points, which would just be nuts. But I think that conversely, it's going to be a record amount of points to win the league as well.
Well, you've seen the start that everyone's had up there. It's the best start for Spurs, best start for a new manager for Chelsea, best start for Liverpool in the Premier League, and Man City at top. Such is the way. All right, let us know in the comments below. Will Fulham stay up? Will Ranieri turn out to be a good appointment? Should Jokanovic be given more time? And are Fulham a have club or a have not club? Remember to like and subscribe to Ball Street, and head over to Fulham if you want to hear more about their club.